This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Monday, October 27th, 2008, and this is episode 480 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hodgeberg of StudioCentral.com. On today's show, we have Mike Newell, Mouse World Radio. How's it going, Mike?
Hi, Matt. You looking well today?
Oh, I thank you, Mike. Mike, you look like $1 million.
I feel like $1.380.
Very nice.
Matt got it.
I got it. Also joining us today is Len Tessick, co-author of the unofficial guide to Walt Disney World. And Len, when I'm in the parks and you're not there, and I see people with unofficial guides, I'm really tempted to tell them that I am Len Testa. Is that wrong?
I think that's exactly what you should do.
I think I should. All right, you know what? Forget that. I'm shooting high. I'm going to say I'm Bob. What do they know?
There you go.
If I'm going to impersonate someone, I might as well go for Bob, right?
Exactly.
So on today's show,
Exactly.
speaking of Len, we thought we would talk with Len about some of the things he's been going on because he's missed a few shows here. He was even on Friday's show, but a little quiet because he's been busy with some things going on, with some trips to Walt Disney World, some observations, if you will. So we're catching up with Len. So Len, what's going on, man? What's new?
So there's quite a bit going on actually. So we were down a couple weeks ago for Food and Wine, which I know you talked to Deb Wills and Deb Coma about.
That's right, and Mike Newell was there too.
And Mike Newell was both on the show, and he went to Walt Disney World as well. Then I went back over the weekend, and Matt, that's where you and I met romantically by the fountain in France.
That's right.
Newell, you weren't there, but
No, I was not.
No, you weren't.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
What happened was this: I said I'd meet an official guide statistician, Fred Hazelton, for dinner over at restaurant Marrakesh and his family for dinner. So Matt and I decided to meet at the fountain at France, and Matt was there was a huge crowd, as there always is around dinner time when Food and Wine Festival is going on, and Matt was looking for me towards the fountain, but apparently didn't see me. So I walked up towards the movie theater and then back and sat next to him and put my arm around him and said, the fountains have always had a romantic sort of mystique for me.
It was quite the moment. You really missed it, Mike.
Yeah, I thought it was good.
Let's talk about Restaurant Marrakesh since you brought that up, Len. You hadn't been there in many years, is that right?
I've been there in about 2 years.
Yeah, I think that's about what I ate there September 06, I want to say. What were your thoughts about it?
I thought it went. It was okay. It wasn't great.
We had definitely some hit or miss dishes, I thought.
So we tried the appetizers, and I think we ordered the salad is always interesting because there's no lettuce in it, right? And that's not intuitively what you think of when you think of lettuce.
Right, a salad. I mean, it's not. It's more of a Mediterranean kind of thing.
Right. So there were like cold potatoes and cold carrots and a tomato type of thing and some other stuff. It wasn't bad. It was almost like a salsa type thing. Then there were also it was pastilla. What was the Bastia?
Yeah, there was I don't know what the name of it was.
Like a pastry wrapped minced chicken, and a pastry wrapped minced beef. There were some lamb sausages that were apparently pretty good. Goat cheese was a big hit.
Yeah, the goat cheese was huge.
Goat cheese was really good. Goat cheese with a little bit of chives. That was really good. For dinner, I had the what's the couscous?
You had the couscous, yeah.
Right. So I had the tenderloin couscous, which if you've not had beef couscous before, it's pot roast. Okay,
Moroccan pot roast.
Moroccan pot roast. It was exactly the same vegetables essentially, except for being served with a side of mashed potatoes and gravy. You got like a little pasta rice thing dish. It's pasta. So that was it. And I think everyone else had some sort of kebab.
I had the shish kebab, which was good. I thought it was a little paltry in terms of the serving. I mean, the kebabs were good, but there wasn't a whole lot to it in terms of the sides and everything. It was really just 2 kebabs, and they were kind of cold. They were cold. They were room temperature, and I would have preferred to be a little warmer. Something like, ooh, this just came off the grill,
right,
as opposed to probably out of the microwave, which it came out of. But never mind that. I mean, it tasted fine. It was good. It just wasn't as hot as I probably would have liked it, but it was pretty tasty, I must say.
Good.
Yeah, I thought there were some things that we all kind of like, ugh, but I thought we all did pretty well with the entrees. The appetizers, like I said, the one that always got me was the chicken pastilla, as you mentioned, because it sounds really good. I mean, baked layers of thin pastry stuffed with minced chicken,
But it wasn't.
Sprinkled with cinnamon and sugar. I mean, how can you go wrong, right? But it was, yeah. I mean, to me, it was like a little dry. It didn't really sit well with me. I thought like you had mentioned, the goat cheese was much better.
You thought the goat cheese was better too?
Oh yeah,
I did as well.
So what else? What else on your little adventures have you noticed?
The other thing we haven't talked about food and wine, have we?
We have not talked about food and wine with you. No.
So for our listeners who haven't heard, did you tell them what we did, Matt?
Yeah, bits and parts of it.
Okay, so we had everyone go through food and wine. So it was me, Newell, you, Matt. We had Josh and Sarah because they're suckers for punishment.
You told them to.
I told them to. And then we had Christina, my sister, Dion, my brother-in-law. We had Danny, one of your friends. We had Marissa there for a little bit. And what we did is, that's right. And we had Hannah. Hannah was here. So the deal was that as we went through food and wine, Hannah would decide who was going to eat what at every booth in food and wine, and this was classic. This is the way I was trying to make sure that Hannah participated with us in food and wine, and I thought it was hysterical.
I call it bad, but okay.
Exactly. So essentially, we had a 10-year-old deciding which of the completely foreign dishes we were going to be responsible for. So Newell, I'll just read through the list of things in the countries that you had to eat, and why don't you tell me your quick impression of what you thought were the favorites? Well, actually, I'll read you the list, actually, Newell, and then because I'd already asked you guys what your favorites were, and I'll mention those, and you can tell me what they were. All right, so Newell, you had 7 dishes. You had the mofongo in Puerto Rico, which was a beef dish, right?
No.
Oh
no,
it was
chicken. No, I thought it was pork.
Newell, you ate it. What was it?
Oh, God, I don't remember.
Yeah. Then you had this. Okay,
it was one of the better choices that I remember.
First one. It was the first one you had.
That was a month ago. I don't remember what I had for lunch today.
Yeah. You had the spanko pita from Greece. You had the praline bread pudding from New Orleans.
That was
which
good.
Technically not a country. You had the roasted beet salad from San Francisco.
That was
you had the chilaquiles from Mexico, which you liked. That was the baked tortillas with chicken.
That was really good.
You had the Durban spiced chicken from Cape Town, which I think you said was also your number 2 choice.
That was good.
Then from Ireland, you had the boxty with bacon chips. Now,
yeah, that was interesting.
Now here is a food improvement I had not previously thought of, but it tells you that the Irish are on top of their game. Bacon flavored potato chips. That's someone thinking. I mean, from the land of James Joyce and I think Guinness, right?
Yeah.
All right.
You think you should know of all people?
Yeah, really. She's of all people. It's anyway. Matt, you had the creamy mushroom soup in Poland. You had the salmon in Canada. The escargot in France. Which, by the way, Hannah still talks about the fact that you ate snails. You had the kefta, which was I know, really. You had the kefta, which is a ground beef pita in Morocco. You had the tuna in chilled tomato soup in Barcelona.
Well, that was a close second, though.
You had the babouti with mango chutney in Cape Town.
Yeah, everyone talks so much good about that, but I really didn't like it.
Yeah, you said that was miserable, actually. You said that was the worst thing that you had.
Yeah, and then, I heard such good things about it. That's why I don't know.
And you had the potato leek soup over in Ireland.
Yeah, it wasn't bad also. But definitely the kefta and the tuna over in Barcelona, those were the 2 best things that I ate there.
That's right. So the kefta was the key there. Now Sarah had the kielbasa and potato pierogi from Poland. The baklava in Istanbul. Tell me she did not cop out on that baklava, and she didn't like it. That was the thing. Who doesn't like baklava? It's like saying you don't like love.
It was Sarah. Who knows? Maybe she was talking.
Really?
Can't even hear her.
She had the lamb in New Zealand. She had the Cameron con pere, which is the shrimp from Chile. She had the samosa, which was a spicy pea pesto or pasta from India, and then she had another sausage from Germany. So she was the sausage girl on that trip. And no, please don't do that.
Oh no.
She I don't think she loved anything that she ended up having.
No, I think she shared. I gave her some of my salmon from Canada. She liked that quite a bit. I don't think she did very well in Hannah's round robin picking.
No, she didn't, sadly, and that was a shame. Josh had the Greek salad from Greece, obviously. I should have said from Ireland. That would have been funnier. The Monty from Istanbul, which is a spiced beef ravioli. That actually sounds good. The Bruat, which was seasoned chicken from Morocco. The spicy beef empanada. The shrimp in red curry from India. And the Spätzle? Spatzel from Germany.
And yeah, you like the Spatzel, as I recall.
And the Bruat, he said, were the two big things. The seasoned chicken from Morocco. Christina, my sister, had eggplant puree and cucumber salad from Istanbul. The beef and corn casserole from Argentina. The pepperberry prawns from Australia. And the baked ziti from Italy, which she said was completely overcooked. I mean, pasta is one of those things that you really should serve it al dente, and if it sits around for too long and absorbs steam or water, it turns to mush. Now, the thing that she said that was great comes from the land of Albert Einstein and shows you that geniuses still are in Vienna. It was the boiled beef brisket with horseradish. She said that was one of the best dishes she's ever had. Now, normally I look at boiled food, especially boiled beef, and I think that's not something that I would enjoy. But Christina raved about it. So if you're over in World Showcase East, so around the Mexico area, right? That's where
it's right near Norway. There, you know what's curious, Len? I was there. I was at Food and Wine the other day, and Norway is the only country of the permanent countries that doesn't have one. Although England doesn't have one either. Now that I think about it,
they have a beer thing though.
Yeah, but that's there all the time.
No. They have that longer. Is that longer booth there?
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But Norway doesn't have anything. But anyway, I guess Norwegians and Austrians, it makes sense. It's a common connection. They're like brothers, really.
Exactly.
Because they're so close.
Dion had from New Orleans the seafood gumbo, the bay scallops, the grilled beef from Argentina, the chilled barramundi, which is a fish from South Africa, and also from Vienna he had the beef goulash with bacon dumpling. And he said that was his favorite thing. So, Vienna was actually the big winner, I think, in the Food and Wine from the Christina Dion collection. Danny was with us. He was only actually there for one thing. He ended up with beef medallions with polenta from San Francisco, and who could not like beef medallions with polenta?
That's all right.
Marissa had the churro, which again is the total baklava cop out that Sarah had. The chicken cha-cha and the pot stickers from China, because I think we let Marissa eat everything in China, right, after my bad tea experience of many episodes ago.
Yeah, she ate everything in China.
Yeah, it was for our listeners who haven't heard the episode, go back and look at, what was it, 441?
414, I think, right?
414, episode 414.
Yeah, I think so.
The Eat Around the World of World Showcase episode where Annette from MEI Travel totally threw me under the bus and made me drink tea from China. And then Marissa also had from Italy pizza with sausage, which total cop out. I had from Puerto Rico the brazo gitano, which was a chicken dish, I believe, and it wasn't memorable at all. The cheddar cheese soup from Canada I had, which was fabulous as always. France I had a goat cheese quiche, and normally I like goat cheese. This was, I don't know if it was just sitting too long or it was cooked incorrectly. It was kind of oily.
Ew, that's disgusting.
Yeah, and it wasn't good.
Oh, you missed the Sulu? That's disgusting.
That was disgusting. I had the from no specific country. I had this was over by the World Showcase Future World entrance. I had the cheese trio. There was an asagio. Asagio? Is that how you say it?
Asagio, yeah.
Asagio, a Romano, and and another one I can't remember, but they were all smoked. They were actually pretty fabulous. From Mexico, I had the quesadilla con chorizo, which was essentially a beef quesadilla. It was okay. It wasn't great. And then in Australia, I had lamb. I don't like lamb at all. And this one was good for about one bite. It was like a miniature lamb chop. It was good for one bite. I didn't love anything that I had other than the cheddar cheese soup, which is sort of what you would totally expect to get.
Yeah. I tried the cheddar cheese soup on a separate trip. I don't know. Again, this must be the babooty thing again. I didn't like the cheddar cheese. It was just too cheesy for me. Like, I don't know.
Too cheesy. Again, it's like saying too much love. I have too much money. I can't. Yeah.
But yeah, Len, how would you rate Food and Wine overall?
You know, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a solid 7. You know, again, the surprise that Vienna was as popular as or made the quality dishes was a complete surprise. I don't know about you guys though. The thing that kind of made it not as much fun for me was the fact they only had one cashier at many of the stands at 6 o'clock at night. So oftentimes the line to get your food in order was 10 or 15 minutes.
Yeah, some of the lines were really outrageous. But I've noticed since that weekend, Len, I've gone back again, and the lines are really. I don't know what it was about that weekend, but it's been more manageable. But yeah, I mean, when it gets bad, especially I guess because we were going early on in the whole scheme of the Food and Wine weekends, you know, it was definitely backed up a little bit. Of course, it could have also been Starship. I mean, Lord knows Newell was drooling over them.
It's the only reason why I went.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and they were actually rocking out when we were over at the American Adventure, weren't they?
That's right. It was you know because the thing I was talking to Newell about it, you know, is I actually knew something about them and knew that they used to be Jefferson Starship. And we were discussing whether or not they would. I think it was with you, Newell.
Find your way back.
If they were going to actually play any Jefferson Starship stuff, and then they played the White Rabbit, which is a great track, and so yeah, they were doing pretty well.
Okay, fair. Well, it was. That's fine. That was pretty fun. What else? Oh, Hannah and I stayed at so this last trip, Hannah and I stayed at All Star Movies, and she loved it. She liked it quite a bit. It was clean. It was comfortable. We were there for a couple nights. We only used transportation a couple times, and going to Not So Scary, there was a little bit of a wait, but for the rest of it, is absolutely fine. Now, I forgot to talk. Did you guys talk about Not So Scary on the show?
No, I don't think
we haven't.
Not So Scary was a lot of fun, I thought.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. I never have a bad time in Not So Scary, that's for sure.
Well,
the only thing I would have changed, though, Len, is I would never go back again on a Saturday night. I thought it was much more crowded.
But really, we didn't wait for any attraction though until the last 30 minutes the park was open. You guys had gone.
Yeah, that's true. But I just felt like there were a lot more people in the park. You know what I mean?
I thought you know, to me it was, you know, on a crowd on a crowd level it was probably like a 2, maybe a 3, because the longest we waited for anything was Big Thunder Mountain, where we waited a full half an hour, even though the posted wait time said 10 minutes. And that was at 11:45 when the park closed at 12. So that was the one that. But other than that, we walked on to anything. Right after you guys left, we walked on to Space Mountain 3 times, to the point where I was like, you know, I don't want to do this anymore. It was during the last parade or the last fireworks. I forget what they run to of. Last parade it must have been, because we literally got off and got back on, and we're just walking on the left side of Space Mountain at between 11:15 and 11:35.
Nice.
It was great. We walked on to Pirates a couple times. Oh, and we also won something from the Dream Squad. So at 6 o'clock we got there, and Hannah and I were just walking into the park, and Christina and Dion were already there, and so we're walking over the bridge into Adventureland. So we walk up Main Street, we make a left.
Before our listeners get too jealous, wait until they hear what they won.
It was fabulous. We got something from Dream Squad.
Okay, sure. Go ahead.
And if we had commercials, now was when we would do the commercial break.
Yeah, coming up next.
Exactly.
That's what we call a tease.
So Chrissy comes running up to us in Adventureland and said, "Come with us quickly. Dion wants something from the Dream Squad." So I'm like running and I'm texting Matt going, "We want something from the Dream Squad. We want something from the Dream Squad." We get there, and the thing that we had won was, get this, a free show, private showing of Tiki Room all by yourself at 6:15. So literally, the guy walks us in the back entrance over by Country Bear Jamboree, and it was
to which I wondered how many 5 people they had to kick out, to get your private show.
Private show. It actually closed at 7. There was no one else there, so they just. So we got our own, and so it was really neat. I mean, being able to sit there and kind of we got up and walked around and during the middle of the show, looking for the best vantage point, and we sang along and clapped and danced, and so did the cast member. It was a lot of fun. And that's an example. It's really why I like the Year of a Million Dreams promotion. That particular thing probably didn't cost Disney anything, but it made us feel great. Certainly we went back and we told everyone that we knew about it, and then it made that evening for us. So we got off that and we got onto Pirates, and we did the left line right line thing, test it out. And it turns out that we both ended up at exactly the same point, getting ready to load. So there was no one was faster there. But the only seat that was left when I was getting in the boat was right next to a cast member who was riding it on his way out. And so I sat next to him. His name was Michael, great guy, who had been working there for 6 months, coming over from Fantasyland, and he said that this was his favorite ride in the entire park. So we started talking, and I said that Pirates is one of my top 3, along with Splash and I don't know what I would put second, but Splash and Pirates. And I told him about how I'd always loved Pirates even as a kid and everything. So we walked through, and we were looking for hidden Mickeys, and we talked about what our favorite scenes were and which animatronic we would be. It was just great. It was really great to see a cast member who loved the ride that he worked at.
Yeah.
So I've always like I tell my boss at work, I love work and I love what I do, and most days it's not even really work, and that makes it so much easier, to come into work and do your job. It was great to see a cast member who actually loved the attraction that he was at, that was just a huge fan and wasn't just there collecting a paycheck. And I could totally get the vibe from him. So anyway, so that he loved it. So we're getting off the ride. He goes, do you guys have a minute? And I said, sure. We've got a minute. And he actually gave us a coupon for 4 free drinks because there were 4 of us
nice.
on him at any other attraction. So it was a great night. I thought we got free candy everywhere that we went. The lines weren't very long for it. We did Haunted Mansion a few times, and that was great. Haunted Mansion was really popular, as you can imagine, for Not So Scary. Overall, I thought it was great. I got a couple of great pictures of some stuff at night. It was definitely a lot of fun. I would definitely go back and do it again.
Perfect. Well, that's it for us today. If you want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at www.wdwtoday.com. For Lenteso, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.